Welcome back to Farming the Beautiful Basics. This month, we're going to be learning soap. And by the end of the month, I hope that you will have tried your very first soap batch. I can promise you it's a lot easier than what you think. I feel like so many people are a bit intimidated because it has lye in it, and obviously lye can burn you, but if you are able to use your common sense, you're going to be careful. You want to make sure that it's not going to get on your skin, so you can wear gloves, you can wear a little face shield, you can wear glasses. You just want to make sure you don't get the lye on you, because obviously it will burn. Just like if you're making candy, you're not going to just stir it around like crazy and let it splatter everywhere, and you're going to end up with third-degree burns. You want to be careful, you want to move slowly. Soap making is a slow process, it's not something you rush. However, it doesn't take very long. I make, take for instance a batch like this, I make it in about 30 minutes. So it's not something that is very hard to do, but we're going to get into it and I'm going to show you how I do everything. You not only save a ton of money making your own soap, but you know exactly what's going into it. All of my soaps I've made, and I have not used any fragrance or anything like that. I've used essential oils to give them a smell, and then some of them I've just made them with nothing in it because we have some allergies with the kids and stuff that they're more sensitive. Now I'm not going to add in essential oil today because I just want to show you the bare basics for this video. But I will show you at what point you would add the essential oil. It's not even a big deal, it's just, at an extra step at the end. But today we're just gonna learn how to make soap and get you to making your own. I'm telling you, this is something you need to be doing. It's not scary at all. Once you see, I felt like the first time I made soap, I thought, since when you watch a video, people are like, you gotta be careful. Make sure you don't get the lye, make sure you don't pour it this way, don't pour it that way, it will blow up on you. And so I was literally standing back, holding, just waiting for the lye to just blow up in front of me, and it didn't happen. Obviously, if it gets on you, it will burn you, but it's just not as intimidating as people make it sound. I'm sorry, my chickens are in the background. So we're gonna go ahead and get started, and yeah, we're gonna make some soap. So I'm gonna begin by weighing all of our ingredients. We have water, oil, and lye that will all be weighed. And so now we've got our cast of characters here. I'm going to begin by getting out my thermometer. I got one of these and I highly recommend them. I would not use a hand thermometer for making soap just because you don't want to splash it on yourself. It's super inexpensive and I highly recommend getting one. All right, so now we're going to start by taking our room temperature water and pouring it into our stainless steel pot. Make sure you use stainless steel. So you can see my little note in the corner. I always heat my oil ahead of time, saves time, and so I'll just go ahead and start. There's my glove. I only wore one. I recommend you wearing two. And I'm going to add my lye slowly to my room temperature water. You always want to add your lye to your water because it's going to heat up really fast. You're going to go from room temperature water to it being 150 degrees really quickly. You can see it's kind of milky there. You're going to know that it's completely dissolved once it goes clear again. But you can see I'm just slowly adding that into my water and I'm stirring it slowly. The reason I go ahead and heat my oil is because you're going to have your lye and your water heated immediately. So it's very beneficial to have your oil heated ahead of time. I will usually heat it to about 130 degrees and then I will sit it beside my lye water because my lye will immediately be about 150, if not hotter. And now it's just, you want to let it, stir it around, let it dissolve, and let them both come down to about 100 degrees, between 100 and 120 degrees. Your main goal is to get the oil and the lye as close as you can to the same temperature between 100 and 120 degrees. Once they're at that, then you can go ahead and add your oil to your lye. So I will just stir and wait around, and usually it takes a while. I'm not going to keep you guys around the whole time that I'm stirring and waiting, but it will take a little bit of time. But you can see, after this, we're literally just going to stir it together and then pour it, and you're going to have soap. So let me just go ahead and show you. I'm going to take my oil. It was about 120 degrees, and my lye was about 120 degrees. So I'm just slowly, ever so slowly, stirring that around. You can open a window if you feel like your house is not ventilated enough. You don't really want to smell that stuff. And always make sure your kids are not around, just because you would never want them to grab it or touch it or anything like that. But we're just going to slowly stir that together. And now you can do the old-fashioned way, where you take a spoon and you're going to work it like this for about 20-25 minutes. Or thanks to modern technology, you can speed this right along and make it into about a 5-minute ordeal by simply using a stick blender, which is what I invested in for this. It made it so much easier. I can't imagine standing there for 25 minutes when I make like 4 or 5 batches of this. So we're just going to set our good old wooden spoon aside, and we're going to pull out our handy stick blender. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there. Sorry about my rooster. He's always hanging out with me. And we're just going to go ahead and turn that on, and you can see it will immediately start working. What you want is saponification. The lye, fat, and water are all separate. But when you stir it for a long enough period of time, it's all going to become one, and that is soap. So you want to go ahead and stir it for about 5 minutes. And you'll see here, after about 5 minutes, it's going to get to be like a thick pudding consistency. And eventually you're going to start seeing a little bitty soap trail. And once you see that, you'll know it's ready. And by ready, I just mean that you're going to go ahead and pour it into your molds. But right now is actually when you would put in your essential oils or any of your powdered colorings that you're wanting to use. You would do that at this point. And then you would go ahead and pour it into your mold. But I just want to make sure that mine is done. You want to make sure that you stir it enough, because if you don't, the oil can actually separate from the soap and then it actually won't even set up. So I usually go a little bit overboard and tend to mix it about 6 or 7 minutes. I just want to see a nice little soap trail of little bubbles kind of following me around. You can see there it's starting to happen. So once I get that done, I'm going to pour it into a mold, and you can really use anything for a mold. I've even used cereal boxes, but I really like to just use something like, a little cake pan, 9x13 or something like that. Just depends on how thick you're going to want your soap bars. Honestly, I just really think it's amazing that you can take lye and water and mix it to a hot temperature, and then a fat, and then combine that, and just with those 3 ingredients, you make your own soap. That is absolutely incredible, and you're not putting all the junky ingredients in there. All right, so we're done, and I'm going to go ahead. I really recommend using parchment paper. I use unbleached parchment paper. It makes the sticking process a lot easier. It's not like soap is super hard to get out, but this does make it a lot easier. So I'm just going to put that down there. Again, I'm going to tell you to use 2 gloves. I only could find one of my bee gloves, so I threw that on for this video. All right, so you're going to very ever so slowly pour that into your mold. You can use anything really for a mold. Soap making doesn't require much as far as tools, but I do recommend having a little scale. I got mine for $10 off Amazon. I got a stick blender, which cuts your time way down. I got that for like $20. And then my temperature gauge was $13, and I really recommend having one of the laser ones. So in order for your soap to actually become soap, it has to have something called saponification happen. And that's when the lye, water, and the fat all becomes one after you have mixed it for a proper amount of time. Like I said, it usually takes about 20-25 minutes for a wooden spoon, and then 5 minutes maybe tops for that to happen with the stick blender, which is amazing. And then you're going to pour it into your mold. It's still not going to be soap. You're going to allow it to sit for 30 days. After that 30 days has taken place, you will have your own homemade soap. It is as simple as that. It really is so easy. I really like this recipe. I like this method because it's very cut and dry and very simple. I always got overwhelmed in the very beginning when I had, it would say lye and then it would say water, but then it had all these different oils. And you can get into that once you get the basics down of making soap. But this is a really good recipe to get your feet wet and just start making soap. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really, really hope that you guys are gonna take this as an initiative to make your own soap. Now you're going to want to remove your soap within the first few days and go ahead and cut it up. It's going to be a lot easier this way. Don't judge my cutting skills. This is a true story. I actually almost got fired when I was 18 working at a pizza joint because I cut the pizzas so bad. And the only reason they kept me was because I was a really hard worker, but they did hang a sign above the pizza cutting station that says, please do not let Angel cut the pizzas. So that kind of gives you a backstory. I'm just like literally hacking this up here. And it's really funny because Gabe's a barber. When he cuts something, it's super precise. We're like opposite ends of the spectrum there. But I just go ahead and I will rough cut. I kind of like the rustic look myself, but I'm going to show you here. Look at this. You can literally make your own soap. Is that not amazing? You know exactly what's going into it. The possibilities are endless. But I'll just go ahead and put my pre-cut soap back into its container, and I'm going to leave that for 30 days, and then I'm going to use it. The possibilities are endless. You can use, whatever natural colors you want to use. I put oats in some of mine. I actually put lavender from my garden on that one. Any essential oils you're wanting to mix and match, it's super fun. And I really hope you guys have enjoyed this video.